All right, fans, joining me now on this week's Spotlight, the Final Count Spotlight, that is, I am joined by the literal legend, Dixie Douglas. How you doing, Dixie?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So getting into this, when did you decide to get into the pro wrestling business?
About 2 years ago, I started watching WWE. I was a big fan of The Fiend. And then I went to a non televised show, an indie show, and I met a wrestler called Donnie Ray. And when I saw him wrestle, I knew that was what I wanted to do. So I found a school where I was living, and that school didn't work out too well. So I moved down here to Grindhouse to wrestle at this school.
Awesome, awesome. So now you said 2 years ago you found out.
Yes.
Okay. So did you watch wrestling growing up or anything, or
No, my mom
no?
was a big fan, but she didn't get back into it until COVID was happening.
Okay, I understand. So, like, did you watch wrestling or anything before then, or
Yeah,
like?
I watched probably for like 3 months
Mhm.
before I went to the indie show.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So you're very new to wrestling and
Yes.
everything there. Okay. So when you first started watching wrestling, did you who were some of your inspirations? Did you have any like one that you like to watch, or even now, do you have anyone that you like to watch and like kind of take from or anything?
So Bray Wyatt was my favorite ever since I started watching. I have all of his stuff around my room. It's all decked out in Bray Wyatt. I love Bray Wyatt. But when Bray Wyatt left WWE, I was a big fan of Jeff Hardy.
Mm.
Um, and then after that, AJ Styles was fun. And then I kind of stopped watching for a period of time.
Yeah.
But I've recently started watching again because my friend is now on WWE, and so it's very fun to
Awesome.
see him succeed.
That's awesome. That is very awesome. So, Bray Wyatt, I like that. Bray Wyatt, and then you said Jeff Hardy. All
Yes.
right, great combination right there. Great
Yeah.
combination. So, did you like the Fiend any?
The Fiend, I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite. My favorite was like the Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt.
Yes. I think a lot of people like the Firefly Funhouse Bray
Yes.
Wyatt. I really liked the little like Mister Rogers esque type
Oh
of
yeah, the
character there.
puppets where they were a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
it was. It was. Um, so getting into your training, I know you said you came here from where was it again?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay. So what was your initial training like in South Carolina? And then two-part question here. What was it like transitioning from South Carolina to Indiana, Jeffersonville, Indiana, and Grindhouse?
So South Carolina, it was when I first started training, I was being trained at Palmetto Wrestling Academy, and Cody Fluffman was my trainer, and I still love him. We still talk. He was a very good trainer, but for me, it was harder to learn from him because we didn't have the same styles. He had a different teaching style than what I usually learn from. So I sort of took like months to learn like one thing. But when I switched to Grindhouse, I was born in Louisville, so it was an easy transition moving down here. That wasn't anything too serious. So when I moved down here to Grindhouse, Rev in my style clashed a lot better. He explains things better to me, and now I learn things like, and I pick up very fast on stuff like that.
Awesome. So, like, shout out to Reverend Ronnie Roberts. He's really awesome. He's actually an alumni of the show, and so I'm sure like training under him was really an interesting time. Um,
Yes.
so, yeah, shout out to Rev Ronnie Roberts. Um, so your first match, what was that experience like?
My first match was, I think it was more nerves than I was focused on having fun. I was sort of a mess during that match, but so was the other girl because it was her debut as well. So it was sort of messy, but I mean we got where we needed to. The crowd still reacted really well, and we just learned from it. So it was definitely okay.
All right, that's awesome. So, yeah, everyone I have come on here, typically their first match is always very interesting. So it's fun to hear that first match experience and what that was like.
Yeah.
Um, So I know you're young in the business and really fairly new. So if you could pick three matches that you've had thus far in your wrestling career, what matches would you pick as your top favorites?
My first favorite was definitely the HCW match I just did May 11th. That one was really good and I liked it a lot because the like fans were really into it. And it was the first time like when you're wrestling you can never really hear the fans, but that was the first time I was actually able to hear it. And I enjoyed that experience a lot. My second favorite would probably be my Grindhouse debut because it just meant a lot to me. It was a sentimental match. It didn't turn out as well as I wanted it to, but it was okay. And then last month's match was really good as well. I wasn't able to wrestle because I actually had surgery on my finger, but I was still involved with it. I managed my tag partner, and in the end, I'm going to save her with because somebody is pulling out a brass knuckle on her. And as I'm pulling it away from them, I accidentally punched my tag partner in the face. So that was
Oh
a
man.
lot of it was definitely a fun experience.
I love that you're able to just like round those off right there.
Yeah.
Especially like, and I love that you put the one with the fans' reaction and everything as the top favorite. Simply
Yeah.
because that's what wrestling is. You're trying to get a reaction out of us, out of the fans.
Right.
You want to get that reaction. You want to get them involved in what you're doing, the story you're telling. So I love that. Um, how did you come up with the name Dixie Douglas?
So Dixie was my first dog's name. It wasn't really the name that mattered to me. Douglas was my grandpa's name, and he passed away due to cancer when I was very little. And so I don't really like my actual last name. I love my grandpa. My last name means a lot to me because he was from Germany, and so I used Douglas instead.
I love that. I love that you're paying homage to him and your dog, your first dog as well. Love that. Love that. Very, very awesome right there.
Thank you.
And speaking of doggos, I see you have a doggo that
I
has
do.
made an appearance a little bit.
Yes.
What kind of dog is he? Is he or she?
Dexter is an Italian greyhound.
Oh,
Um, he is 13 years old. He's getting up there in age, but he's an Italian greyhound. He's very sweet.
oh, we love doggos right here on the final count as well. So whenever they make an appearance, we'd like to get to know them as well.
Yeah.
Um, so with your wrestling in ring style, how would you describe your in ring style maybe to someone who has not seen a Dixie Douglas match?
I'd say it's a big mess. Like it's clash together of everything. Like I really wanted to focus on like high flying stuff, but I also really wanted to focus on just like lucha type stuff almost. Like I really like to do flips. I really like to move fast. I like to be very active in ring. But then I also like to chain a lot and I also like to body slam people. So I would say it all just kind of mixes together. I take the parts I like from each one, each style, and I put it together and that's my style, I guess.
Well, there you go. I like that. You take a little bit from each. Yeah, from each. I like that a lot. Um, who have been some of your favorite people to work with thus far in your wrestling career?
So in ring, I would say Allie, my tag partner. She, me and her, we get along really well. We get each other very well, and it's never really a fight about who's doing what. It's very we mix very well. And my second favorite would probably be Larkin because she's a big personality
Mhm.
and me and her, we have a lot in common. So it's like every time we get together, it's a big trauma dump session, and it's very fun.
Definitely, definitely. How's Allie do the bestie thing? So your bestie right there.
Yes,
Your what is it, bestie? I don't know if
yes,
everyone
it's
can see that. A
besties.
bestie.
Yes,
Shout out to Allie Albright right there, and then Larkin. Oh my goodness, she's watch her promos and everything. She's a handful, for lack of a better word.
she is.
Um, speaking of Allie Albright and lovely Miss Larkin, What was your tag match like teaming with Allie Albright against Lovely Miss Larkin and Vanessa Holiday back in March at Grindhouse?
Um, I would say we've had a lot of tag matches against them recently, but it's like every time they sort of get one over on us, whether it's legal or not legal, and so it's just frustrating at this point, kind of trying to finally get ahead of them.
I hear you on that. It sounds like it, but in the end, the good guy wins, right? Or
Right.
good girl in this case. The good girls win. Let's say it that way. What are some of your biggest challenges you are facing thus far in your wrestling career, or something you have struggled with most thus far in your wrestling career?
It's always been character for me. I can wrestle like no other. I am a very good wrestler, but it's just like when it comes to character, I have a hard time showing it in ring because I never know the right time to get up and do some character work. It's very hard for me to kind of like make out what's a good time for it and what's not. So firing up's a little hard for me. It's very hard to show my character, but I'm hoping I recently at HW was a little better at it, so I'm hoping it just improves over time and we get there eventually.
Definitely, definitely. With practice makes perfect is an old saying and everything, and
Right.
so it'll come with time, and you'll get better and better at it. So do you feel this kind of goes into character as well? Do you prefer or feel you would work better as a baby face or a heel?
So in training, I definitely prefer to be heel because I find it easier to bring out my character then. In like babyface matches, I feel like my character is just not meant to be a babyface. She doesn't go well as a babyface because my character has recently evolved into she went from sort of like a very preppy show off to now she's like a Gen Z chronically online uh Discord, Twitch, like she's just chronically online as the character. And it's very hard to show that as a baby face than a heel.
All right, I love that. Yeah, I think a lot of people find it easier and more enjoyable actually being a heel. Because you get you can do things to people that in actual real life you probably wouldn't do. Without breaking a law.
Yes, it's definitely easier to get people to hate you than it is for them to like you.
Definitely, definitely. Is there anything you feel in wrestling that has come natural to you thus far?
Um, I would say that like the actual wrestling moves, like they when I do them, it's like, oh, that wasn't that hard. It's like I don't know, some really test my difficulty, but like my favorite move, it's called a tornado clutch, or maybe Rev calls it like a hippo mesa or something like that. That's
Mhm.
my favorite move, and I learned it within like 2 days. That was
Oh,
super
wow.
easy for me. Bluff taught me it, and it was just a breeze.
Wow, so you catch on quick apparently. Do you have
Yes.
like a athletic background or anything prior to
I
wrestling?
did taekwondo for a while. I did grappling. I did karate, gymnastics. So yeah, I did have an athletic background before wrestling.
Nice. So what was the getting away from wrestling a little bit? What was the gymnastics? What was that like?
Gymnastics was hard for me because I have um I have inverted hips.
Mhm.
And so it causes me to walk a little funny and I can't move my hips certain ways. So I can't do the splits. I can't do
Mhm.
anything like to where my legs go very high.
Mhm.
So gymnastics was very hard for me, but it was fun just
Really?
like messing around with it.
Right, right. I bet. And then the taekwondo and everything. That sounds like really fun and of course, like it gives you that advantage of you know, God forbid, someone was to like pickpocket you. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but we'll go with it. If someone was to do that, then you got this advantage to where you're like, hey, no, I don't know karate, I know taekwondo. You ain't gonna
Yeah,
get my wallet.
I didn't enjoy taekwondo, but my trainer and me decided it'd be best to do kickboxing instead for a while,
Mhm.
and I was really good at that. My trainer always told me I kick way too hard, and yeah, it was super fun doing kickboxing. It just wasn't fun doing taekwondo. It was too slow for me.
Right, right, right. So what are some things you would like to accomplish within? Is this your first? This is your first year of
Yes.
wrestling? Okay, so what is some things you would like to accomplish within this first year of wrestling?
So, in when I was living in South Carolina, I was always at a North Carolina show, and I made a lot of friends there, and I made a lot of very close connections there that I really cherish. And so I would really hope that in my first year, I can probably make it back out there to North Carolina and do a show there. Maybe one of my friends' shows. My one of my really close friends, Bojack, he actually has been like promoting a show, CWA, and I would really love to be on that. So
Awesome. Well, I hope that really comes to fruition for you and within this first year. That would be awesome. Um, what are some of your sticking with uh, this year, actually in 2024, not necessarily your first year, but what are some of your goals in 2024 that you would like to see happen or accomplish? And who are some people you would like to have matches with within the remaining of 2024?
So my goals, I definitely want to get that character. I want to be able to show it better, even as a baby face, because I need to be able to work both. Obviously, I can't just be a heel forever. So I would like to wrestle my friend Xander Bennett. He would be fun to wrestle, and I would like to wrestle. I'd like to wrestle Bojack and Mason Miles. He's one of my close friends as well, and I would love to wrestle him. He's got a very interesting character, and I think our characters would go very well together. So
Definitely, definitely. So I like that you have those goals in mind and everything. That's really cool, and definitely again wish that all comes to fruition for you and
thank
those
you.
matches can pan out for you. You're welcome. Who would be your dream opponent? What type of match would it be, and where would the location venue be?
So I obviously do want to get signed, like most wrestlers do, but my dream opponent would just be my inspiration on the indies. It would, of course, be Donnie Ray. Um, he's been doing a lot of death matches, and there was one I saw that stuck out to me where he did a death match with Legos,
Oh wow,
and I would love to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun, even if like it sounds like the crowd would get really into it. It may be like stupid or like silly, but I think it'd be great. I don't really mind which venue we do it at, but obviously I would prefer somewhere in North Carolina. If not, maybe we could do it televised. That would be fun. Uh, yeah, but definitely Donnie Ray, just because it would lead straight back to the start. Would big full circle on my wrestling career.
definitely, definitely. That'd be a very cool match to see a Lego match. Yeah, probably wouldn't be too fun with the walking on top of them, but
No.
be good as a fan to see. I know I've seen a few of them, but yeah, definitely deathmatch wrestling. That's a interesting thing. So is that something that you would like to get into maybe at some point and try
I
deathmatch wrestling out?
I don't want to do it a lot, but I've told everybody at Grindhouse I'd like to do it once and get so messed up that I never want to do it again.
Right, I hear you on that. uh, have the fun and be done with
Right.
it. So, what is the best piece of advice you have been given thus far in your wrestling career?
It's probably from Cody Bluffman. He once told me that wrestling should be treated as a business and not a social life. And that was my biggest thing in South Carolina when I was training. I do virtual school. And so I was really looking for a social life. I was really looking for friends. But in wrestling, it's really pick and choose your friends. There's people who really you should not trust. And I was
Mm,
just trusting of everybody because I didn't know any better. And then once I saw like sides of people, I obviously learned, and now I know it's definitely just a business and it should be treated professionally.
definitely, definitely. And then, of course, that's really great advice, because like treat it as a business. If you want to make the money, and obviously you don't want to do it just for the money. You
Right.
know, of course, if you want to make a living off of it, yes, you want to be able to make a living, feed your family with it, and everything.
Right.
But so in that sense, make it a business. You treat it as a business because in that sense, it's going to be a business. So definitely for the money side of things, keep it. You want to get yourself put out there. You want to get yourself put over. And everything. So yeah,
Exactly.
keep it, keep it, and think of it as a business. So for sure. If this next question is gonna take a little bit of thought here. So if you could create your own match type, what would your match consist of? What would the rules of your match be? And what would the name of your match be?
Hmm. I think if I had to like create a match right now, I think it would be fun to do something where it's kind of hard to explain, but I think if we do something like maybe where there's like no chaining, you can only use like flips, sort of. You can only use flips and stuff to pin the other person and just for the whole match. That would be a lot of fun. It sounds like it would definitely hurt a lot, but it would definitely be a lot of fun.
That definitely would be really interesting too. Like if he flips the whole match, yeah, that'd be like probably get like wow chance or something all the time. The
Yeah.
whole match. Like that'd be really cool. Interesting. Yes, I'd love to see that. So we kind of talked about some short term goals. What are some more long term goals?
So I know most wrestlers' goal is WWE, and I wouldn't mind to get there, but it's not my personal goal. My personal goal is definitely to be signed with somewhere in Japan. I really like Noah GHC, I believe it's called. I think they're really good. New Japan's really good. Um, I just like that the Japan side of things. I love Japan's culture and all of that. But my friend Anthony Green, he wrestles with Noah GHC and he has so much fun with it. And so I'd definitely like to do that. But if I can't get there, then AEW would also be a great option for me.
Awesome, awesome. And I definitely hope that all of those come to fruition for you. And I'm sure you'll be signed somewhere. I'm sure you
Thank
will
you.
be. Definitely. So how can fans find you on social media?
So pretty much all of my social media is Shies_Kingdom. That's CHYS. And then my Facebook page is Dixie Douglas, and it's a fan page, so you can just follow and see all of my content.
All right. Well, fans, I encourage you go and follow Dixie Douglas on all of her social media. Give her a follow. Tell you found her by watching or listening even to the Final Count podcast. And then, how can promoters contact you for their next show?
My booking email is on my Facebook page, but you could always just DM me. I read all of my DMs. I make sure I answer all of them. So I will definitely be able to contact you back.
All right, promoters, go get her for your next show. Book her, bring her in, and pay her well as well. So, and yeah, you'll be getting a great talent right here for your next show or booking, and your next event. So yeah, promoters, get with her, hit up her email, and like she said, she'll get back with you. So Dixie, at this time, I'd like to definitely thank you again for coming on the Final Count, and you're
Thank
welcome to come
you.
back anytime.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Have a great night.